Hello and welcome to a rather special entry in the world of unreleased and forgotten games, where today we're diving into a title that holds a unique place in gaming history called Magician's Apprentice. This is a game that until recently was lost to time, but not only was it fully completed, it's also thought to be one of the only finished titles ever made for a piece of hardware that evolved from the ill-fated Konix Multi-system. So what you're currently seeing is the culmination of years of quiet development, a failed platform and some preservation work that has finally brought this hidden gem back to life. So back in 1993, a company called Dark Technologies developed Magician's Apprentice for a system that's often loosely referred to as the Multi-system 2. Now it's important to clarify that this wasn't an official product name, nor was it a standalone branded console like the original Konix Multi-system was intended to be. Instead, the term Multi-system 2 became a kind of informal shorthand used in places like Edge magazine and Retro Gamer to describe a new system based on an evolved version of the original Slipstream chipset, which was created after Konix had folded. So one notable example of this was the TXC Multi-system, which used the MSU chipset and was designed as a multi-purpose entertainment unit, CD player, photo viewer and karaoke machine and games console all in one. Though it was never officially branded as a Multi-system 2, the connection to the original Konix team and tech meant that people often referred to it in that particular way. And importantly, it did exist physically, so you could buy it in parts of Asia, so it wasn't complete vaporware. But with the arrival of the Sony PlayStation around the corner, it really stood little chance of making any commercial impact at all. So Dark Technologies, they created Magician's Apprentice specifically for this hardware, and it was a relatively simple platform game, but one with some really lovely visuals for that time. The main developer was Joe Booth, and the graphic work is believed to have been contributed by someone called Alan, and we sort of hope to uncover more credits in time. So though the game was fully complete, it was ultimately cancelled due to the platform's commercial failure, and so it never saw the light of day. However, a year later, it was then ported to PC by a different programmer and released as a bonus game alongside Alien Olympics. So that PC version was nearly identical, aside from some musical enhancements, but also intro and outro sequences added for additional flavour. So at the time there was no real press coverage and almost no awareness of the game or the hardware that it was built for. In fact, the MSU2's existence is only really known about thanks to the amazing Konix Multi-system archive run by Mark Campbell. Fast forward to 2025, Games That Weren't were asked to preserve a set of code archives, and it was during this process that we were asked to keep an eye out for the potential of finding something of Magician's Apprentice on the Konix. And it was after a bit of digging that not only did we uncover source code, but we also found a series of final builds created by Joe Booth himself. This included a standard build, but also a cheat-enabled version as well. The problem was there was no actual way to run them. So enter Lee Hamilton, who had already developed an amazing Konix Slipstream emulator that supported a few other unreleased titles like AMC 89. The fact that this emulator even exists, considering the original hardware was never officially released, is nothing short of remarkable. So we passed the recovered builds to both Lee and Mark Campbell, and on April the 5th, 2025, Lee hosted a live Twitch stream to see if the game could be brought back to life. He'd only given himself 4 hours, but within the first hour, he pretty much had it up and running, and by the end of the stream, he had managed to play it right through to completion. Since then, Lee has updated the emulator to include support for Magician's Apprentice, meaning that you can now finally play this long-lost title for yourself. That said, there are some finishing touches still needed, and there are some missing sound effects and a few glitches in the outro, but Lee plans to address these either in future streams or quietly behind the scenes, so do keep an eye out on his website. So there we have it. The very first complete game for the MSU2, now rescued and playable for the very first time in over 3 decades. We hope this incredible recovery may lead to others just like it in the future. A huge thank you goes out to Mark Greenshields and Darren Melbourne for helping arrange the recovery, to Lee Hamilton for his phenomenal work getting the game up and running in the Slipstream emulator, but also to Mark Campbell, whose dedication to preserving the history of the Konix Multi-system has helped to also make all of this possible today. So now I'll leave you with the rest of the video and for the rest of Magician's Apprentice, a game that nearly almost disappeared completely forever. If you check out the link in the description, there's more details about the game, including the download and also links to how to download the emulator and how to run the game. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you again soon for yet another recovery at Games That Weren't. Take care.